In this video, I want to cover arithmetic operators. So I've placed a button on my form, and in behind here I have written a little bit to explain about the different operators and declared two variables, so two ints, num1 and num2, and I have there 10 and 8. So firstly they're looking at addition, where you add two numbers together. So I'm using Debug.WriteLine to get the output into the output window. And what I'm going to add on here for this one, I can use the variable names that I have there, so number1 and then plus number2. Now I'm going to run that straight away just to show you what will happen there. Now just give that a second to run. Okay, so I need to press the button to get the results there, and I have quite a few Debug.WriteLines, so they will print out quite a bit, but I just need to find the one that I'm looking for here. I just scroll up, so they're adding together. So what I have produced here is number1, which is 10, plus number2. Now, firstly, because I have two pluses here, what will happen is they will happen from left to right. So I've got a string, and then add on a number. So when you're using the plus the addition operator and you have a string on the left, it will perform a string concatenation. So that will add 10 onto my plus and my colon. And then I go to add on 8. Again, when you have a string on the left, it will perform a string concatenation, so it concatenates on 8. So if I want to add the two numbers together, I need to put brackets around number 1 plus number 2 to make sure that that happens first. Then the two numbers will be added together and then concatenated onto the string. So now I'm just going to hit stop. I'm going to type in some more there. So subtract, what I can do there, plus, so I'm concatenating with string concatenation. And if I put in again number 1 and go for minus number 2. Number 2 selected from the list. Now, this time that won't compile because it's the plus, when there's a string on the left, acts as string concatenation, and now it will add on, so it'll add on 10 successfully. And now it's trying to subtract from a string, which you can't do. So that causes a compilation there. So a minus cannot be applied to operands of type string and int. So operands are the values on either side of the minus. So again, for this one, if I just put brackets around it, that will perform the subtraction first and then concatenate the result onto the string. So I'm just going to pop another one in here. So again, number 1 multiplied by number 2. Now this time it doesn't give a compilation error because multiplication has higher precedence than addition and subtraction, so that will automatically happen first. The multiplication will happen first, so brackets are not required. You can put brackets in if you want to just make it clear that that happens first, but it will happen first anyway. And now integer division, I'll add the same on here. Number 1 divided by number 2, and again division has higher precedence than addition and subtraction, so again that will happen first. So I'm just going to hit run on that to make sure that everything there is okay so far. I need to click my button. So addition, we now have 18. Get that out of the way so you can see what's going on there in the background. So from line 57, 2 is from line 58, the minus 10 minus 8. That's multiplication, and my division. So I've gotten 1. So I've divided an integer by an integer. So how many times does 8 go into 10? It goes in once. Now if I wanted to show a floating point example here, I hit stop. So I could declare more variables here, or what I could just put in here is 10.0 divided by 8.0. So by adding on the 0.0, I've turned the integer into a double. So again, we have division here, that will happen first, and then the result will be concatenated onto the string. So hit run on that one. So what is 10.0 divided by 8.0? Again, press the button. So my integer division, my floating point division, so 1.25. So be very, very careful when you're dividing integers, an int by an int, the result will be an int, but when you divide a double by a double, the result will be a double. And now the remainder, so the last one here in our arithmetic operators on top, and then a couple more underneath. If I put in number 1 divide, no, wrong one there, remainder number 2. So what we'll do now, it will give the remainder after integer division. And hang on, this is running, let's hit stop there and run again. It'll give the remainder after integer division. So 8 goes into 10 once, and what is the remainder? The remainder is 2. So 8 goes into 10 once with 2 left over. Now underneath I have 2 more operators, an increment operator which is plus plus and a decrement operator. So I'll just put in the print line statement here so we know what we're doing. Plus and our decrement. So it's just so I can see it in the console dot, or the Debug.WriteLine, sorry. And plus, so if I choose number 1 plus plus, that will output the number with 1 added on, and number 2 minus minus, that will output the number with 1 subtracted. Now that can be written in different ways there again. Now I just have to hit run again. Keep forgetting to hit stop. Arithmetic operators. So plus plus. So I was expecting that to be 11 and I was expecting that to be 7. So now just to explain why that didn't work. So I could write these. I'm going to copy these 2 lines and just update these printouts there as well. So number 2 minus minus, and I just want to, okay, I'll copy those 2 lines. So the plus plus and the minus minus, it can be written before the number, before the variable name, or it can be written after. And it does matter which order it goes in. So plus plus. Just change the output here as well on this one. And minus minus. So when it's written before, it's known as a prefix operator. And when it's written after, it's known as a postfix operator. And it does matter. So what happens up here is when it's written after, it will change the value of number 1 after the printout. Again, the minus minus, it will change the value of number 2 after the printout. Now, so those values will have changed. By the time it gets down here, number 1, that will have gone to 11. This will now add another number on, so it will actually print out 12. And number 2 minus minus, it will print out number 2 as 8, take 1 off, so it goes to 7. Down here, it will take 1 off before it's printed, so that will reduce it to 6. So I'll show you that first, and the last thing I'll do is I'll put an extra 2 right lines there in the middle just to show you what's happening. Now, so the number, here we go, 10 and 8. But then one was added, one added on, 1 subtracted, and then again another was added on, another number subtracted. So that's why it's 12 and 6 there. Now just to prove that, I'm going to put another 2 right lines here in the middle, just to print out the values of number 1 and number 2 on their own, and then we'll leave it at that. Now, so as we saw there, that will print out 10. That will print out 8, but the value will have changed. So 1 got added on, that will print out 11. 1 was taken off 8, so that will have gone to 7. And now this is the prefix operator, so it would add 1 on before the printout, so that will print out 12. And the postfix there, or sorry, the prefix but takes 1 off, so that would go from 7 down to 6. Now just to run that. Now, so there we have the printout 10 and 8, and then the 11 and 7 in the middle there. So just to show the first 2 lines have actually changed the value of those variables. So that is our arithmetic operators. We have our plus for a string concatenation, or numerical addition when you've got 2 numbers. But again, if there's a string on the left, it will be a string concatenation. So to make sure those numbers get added together first, put brackets around them. We've got our subtraction or multiplication, our integer division will give an integer result when the 2 numbers are integers. It will give a floating point result when the 2 numbers are floating points. and that remainder operator will give the remainder after an integer division. And then we've got our increment and decrement operators, and again it does matter where they're placed, which depends on how they will operate.